Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check waifu waifu. King, tell him. Is that you?
It's final review to do.
This is episode 339 of Mic Check Waifu Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu Waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast, where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, the after stories, where you can get access to the pre-show, which goes live 2 days before this episode goes live. Make sure you support us on patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu Waifu. Shout out to the Patreon producers explicitly. Ked the Pro from Chaotic Culture Podcast. Fear. Semi Sensei. Frozen. D-Money. Fingers. Dad Needs to Talk. Make sure you check out Dad Needs to Talk podcast. Death Scythe, a.k.a. Christian the Archivist. All for one Matt. Rob Stone. Matthew H. And last but certainly not least, TK Does Snowboarding. Thank you so much for producing this and many episodes of the podcast. We truly appreciate you and couldn't do it without you. I don't know if Tell froze. Oh, he's just standing really still. He looked like a statue. Mic Check Waifu Waifu is the anime podcast brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Central Time, where we bring you seasonal topics, reviews, and discussion about and surrounding anime. Welcome to the show. Thank y'all so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the YouTube video. We would appreciate that as well. And rate us on all podcast services wherever you're listening to us at. We appreciate that too. Let's get into the episode today, Tell. Tell, what is your episode of the week this week?
My episode of the week was extremely easy. I didn't really have to think about it. It's Journal with Witch.
Yeah, that's good. That one was a very emotional show episode per usual. Yeah, for me was Hell's Paradise season 2, episode 6. Unbelievable, and it's going to kind of cater to the topic that we're bringing you today. But before we get into that, let's touch on some things before we get into the main topic that I would like to discuss. Normally, sometimes we like to get into our listeners' bag and see what they have to say about certain things. Shout out to Rob Stone, who just, and this is based off of last week's episode because he commented on a YouTube video just like you can, and he said, as soon as I can get to it. There we go. Or maybe not. Excuse me, sorry. There it is. But he commented on the YouTube video just like you can. He says, set in stone. I love it because we talked about the topic ideas or the segments that was brought to you by our Patreon producers. But he says, no time to do a full breakdown this midterm, unfortunately, but briefly, my overall grade is a B+. My top 5 from last week are the A and A- shows, but there are a few lower grades for the watchable trash this season. Overall, though, the shows are really solid this season. And
yeah,
that sparks a lot of conversation because this is, honestly, it's hard to say that it's not, but one of the better seasons of anime we've had, more consistent seasons of anime we had in a very long time. Because usually it's always either carried by the new shows or only carried by the returning shows. But in this particular case, we are eating good with both.
Yeah, it's a very crazy mix this season, man.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we have the watchable, likable, enjoyable trash.
Yes.
And then we have like the tried and true, like shows that have already been here, like new seasons of previous shows that are just fire. But then we have some really good new stuff.
Yeah.
That's like very surprising. It's wild to have a mix so
diverse, if you will.
A season that's so thoroughly mixed. Yeah.
It's very, very, very diverse and very good in all aspects of every category too. And it's not just like slice of life, because we talk about how slice of life is cooking this season, but there's also shows that are of the action variety that is just as good in my opinion, i.e. Hell's Paradise, Freerun, Oshi No Ko, stuff like that.
Fake Strange Fake.
Yeah, Fake Strange Fakes I hear is really good, which I still have it on my list to start. Got to get that going. So I think I can watch it on Amazon Prime. I want to watch it on my TV. That's what I want to do with different this series. As long as it's dubbed. Is it dubbed?
Most of the episodes are already dubbed. I think.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It is. It's fully dubbed.
Yep.
Okay, so that makes it easier because I want to watch it on my TV, all because I want to see A1 Pictures do their thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think the only episode I didn't watch dub was the most recent one. It was an accident. Like I just opened it and it wasn't automatically on the dub.
Okay, and is it pretty good?
But I think it's on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, that's what I just found.
Okay.
Is the dub pretty good though?
Yeah, it's solid.
No issues there.
And like I feel like this is one of those shows where the voices just really match the characters in general.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like the personas fit, and the female voice actor doesn't seem like a dead fish. Which is, I mean, in the most respectful way possible.
Yeah, of course. That seems to be the trend with a lot of shows that gets dubbed when it comes to the female characters for some reason. But glad it's not in this case. But yeah, I mean, it's a great season. I'm probably starting Fate this week actually. Then because I need to see that. Okay,
yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the shows are really killing it this season. And I know we talked about the guilty pleasures already, but Easygoing Territory Defense by the Optimistic Lord is like a super solid growing guilty pleasure. I'm not even gonna say guilty.
No, it's
just
actually
a growing
good.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's actually a good show. One that I could recommend as far as something chill when you've already seen everything else in the season, right? Like I can recommend it for my heart. That it's actually a really good show that I think people would enjoy. I will say this. We do have to have a discussion on a couple of shows this week. And I think one, we should take the spoiler talk because I think it's important that people who aren't watching this don't get spoiled on it. And that's Oshi No Ko. Because there was a conversation that was had in the Discord where me and a producer, shout out to Fear, didn't agree on something. And I want to bring that conversation to the spoiler half of the show. So Oshi No Ko, I think, is one we should bring up. And then a conversation based off of Senses to Be a Hero. Again, I know y'all. Don't roll your eyes. I know y'all probably sick and tired of us talking about this show, but it's a show that I feel like I have to express myself on, because if I don't, I'm gonna explode. And I think and that one we can just spoil at any point in the show proper, but
right.
It's so frustrating. But before we get into that, let's get into some stuff that is actually worth talking about. Now, we don't have a show to review at the end of the season. We still haven't picked it. We were supposed to pick it. We haven't done it yet. Unless we have, and the archivist is going to correct us later on, but we haven't found anything. So I say we look here, and it sucks because we already fucking halfway through the season already. So it's kind of almost cheating-esque to pick something, unless we do like a random show generator or something like that, or random number generator or something like that to pick a show for us. You know what? Maybe we should do that. You want to try that?
A random show generator?
Yeah. How does your this is what I'm gonna do. Since I think you're watching more than me, I'm gonna take a picture of my airing category on AnyList, right? I'm gonna eliminate Trigun. Here, let me get a save this image real quick here. We're doing this live, so bear with us here. This is
okay.
Usually something we do this in the podcast, but I'm gonna eliminate Trigun. Obviously, we're gonna eliminate all season 2s of stuff. So I'm gonna send you this picture on Discord here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll a random number generator, and then obviously through left to right, 1 through however many shows it is. We're going to do that as the number. And then we're going to roll around the number generator, and whatever it lands on, we're going to review. Deal?
Let's do it.
because I think that's a more equal way of picking a show to review this season, which is funny because being halfway through a season is kind of cheating. We could just kind of pick the best show and then review it and then go from there. So that is my Annie list airing thing. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
24.
Oh, you're doing it.
You got 29.
29.
No, you got 30. Sorry, 30.
30. Okay. So we got 30 shows here. So the number generator is going to be between 1 through 30. Do you want to roll it or do you want me to roll it?
Let me see. I want to roll it.
Okay. Do us the honors.
1 through 30. Random number generator. You said what?
So yeah, dude, do us the honors.
1 second. All right. You got any last words before I roll?
Any last words? Again, we're not doing season 2, so if you land on the season 2, we will have to re-roll. Okay, go ahead.
26.
It's my favorite number, by the way.
So that's the second one in the third row.
Journal with Witch.
That's wild.
Okay. So, all right. Well, that's the end of the season review.
Do I need to take a picture of my screen?
No, hell no. I believe you. It's actually ironic that it chose that for us because I was, I'm okay with that. I was either okay with that or one of the other 2 slice of life that we got, Polar Opposites or In the Moonlit Dust. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Jeez.
Perfect end of the season review choice. I'm with that. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. I'm totally with that. I'm totally with that. Mind you, and I don't know. God, I'm not gonna say nothing because that'll kind of spoil how I feel about it already. But you guys already know I feel good about it as it is.
Same. Same. I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
All right. Shit, with that done, let's get into the topic I want to have about Sentenced to Be a Hero. Okay. Is this an antagonist? Probably. And it ended up being on accident. But I'm going to try not to go antagonist here. The thing that's killing me, and I think, and it's honestly, the community, for the first time ever on these popular shonens, I think the community is in lock and step with us. The show has so many issues that are, it's so obvious that these issues are prominent. Like, for instance, TK does snowboarding. He says, forgive the wall of text. One of the biggest issues with this show, and as I've stated before, is all the talking. But what pisses me off the most about that is what the fuck happened to the telepathic link between the goddess and Xylo? Like, she remarks on it on the second or third episode and then never brought it up again. And then according to the goddess, they don't need to speak to each other to know each other's thoughts or intentions. So what's with all the yapping between them? As an audience, we don't need the vocal play-by-play when it comes to action scenes because we can see them in all caps. Again, I agree with Polo in that all this yapping is for the scroller watchers who can't / won't / don't focus on the show, and it's fucking irritating. And I think the key to that is that I think what we all feel is that we all feel the potential of the show. And that's where all of our frustrating come from. It's because this is a new show, a new series, a new kind of style of a shonen that you don't see, but that is kind of catering to those who only see the atypical be usual shonens. And it's so frustrating because of the opportunity to do so many nice things. Like, it has pieces or flakes of great storytelling that could be utilized that they don't use. I.e., for example, the whole, and this is spoilers for Sentenced to Be Here on, I'm sure y'all watching it with us, but the idea of the humans siding with some of the demons. And then like, that could be such a major part of this show, but it's so over explained before you even know that the humans are siding with the demons before that, and then you see that the humans show up with the demons, and it's like it's supposed to be this big surprise, but nobody that's a viewer is surprised because they talked about it for 2.5 episodes before that. And it's so frustrating because when you get that, it completely ruins what would be, and we'll talk spoilers for the future topic, what would be the turning point of the show. Like, it hurts so bad. It hurts so bad because of like the potential of it all. And that's why I think it's so frustrating for all of us. And TCB is like, man, listen, why don't you just stop watching it? And I'm like, yeah, we could, right? We could just cut our losses and end it here. But not only was I expecting this to be something great, I was looking forward to it. So now what's going to happen is that I'm going to watch it all the way through so I can discuss it. And then I'm going to give my opinions on it with grave detail so you understand where I'm coming from when it comes to the show. To continue the conversation in the Discord, though, but I talked about the monster design. The monster design is so whack, it's getting harder to care. Like, these fucking demons are bugged-eyed or mutated horses or mutated versions of bugs or different animals, and it's just so it's so lame, man. It's fucking corny.
What it basically is, and I'm not going to try to say, it basically is the demon lords, because they get called fairies or whatever, right? But let's be real, first and foremost, they're not really fairies. This is basically just a zombification of wildlife and everything it touches.
Yep.
This is basically a zombie anime with a demon lord who just turned everything into zombies. Not to say that's exactly what it is, but that's what it feels like, in my opinion. Like, just infestation, and it gets spread out. And mind you, while I don't like this anime, I would even have to say that this most recent episode was like the best episode, and it was still not good.
Nah,
like,
the best episode still won for sure.
Well, I'm saying this is what I'm gonna say, and this is why I'm gonna say this, is that why did it take so long for them to come to an understanding that, like, hey, I know what your past was, or I understand what your past was, but like, I'm here to fight by your side. We're kind of on the same thing, and that, spoilers, obviously, that, you know, we are, you hate me because you hate what I represent because you see yourself in me. You know what I mean? Because you've experienced this before. And it's like, you finally said it. Now, can we finally get progress? And that's why I'm saying that. Because
and that's not even, no, and that's not even.
At some point, we can actually get progress in this show.
The I see myself in you is bullshit. It's just bullshit because it's not even the actual case in the situation that was brought to us in the first place. So what? Right. So the conversation that they had didn't make sense. So I can't even say that it's the best part of it's the best episode because the logic there isn't logicking. Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, what should have been said was that I see that you're hurt because of what happened to the likes of something like me. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do. I see myself in you, and y'all are two completely different entities that are completely different sides of the fence when it comes to this. Like, he was a fucking hero then with a goddess before. The goddess overworked herself and was about to get transformed to one of them fucking infested demon things. And he had to kill her to prevent that from happening. What the fuck does that have to do with seeing yourself in somebody? And they're like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. But my point is that they finally got to a point where these two characters no longer have to have this like futile back and forth. They don't have to have this tumultuous relationship. You know what I mean? Like, they're supposed to be partners. It doesn't have to be tumultuous. They don't have to have a disagreement every time he's like, hey, we got to go fight. You know what I mean? He can just simply say, hey, look, I don't want you to overexert yourself right now. I'm going to go ahead and take the forefront right now. And it could be that simple. They don't have to have the childish back and forth, you don't understand me conversation. Yeah. So this is why I'm saying right here, they can finally push forward and actually just do the show. Yeah. Just do the show, bro. Yeah. like
even though that
you can
advancement,
skip all the BS now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Even though that advancement
all the flowery
didn't make
words
sense.
And stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. Like I said, even though that didn't make sense, it's still a reason for them to move forward, is what you're saying, basically. I see. That does make more sense. to continue the conversation, Kilo says they were interesting in the initial jump. They're getting pretty ass though. Not going to lie. Talk about the monster design. He says basically takes some animals, add some weird growth or spike to it, and they don't seem that threatening. Like I could fight them shits. and I said, and that's not a good feeling because it's supposed to make us feel like, how can we win, quote unquote? Not, man, if you don't just get some fucking bug spray.
Right.
Because that's what it feels like. You just spray some goddamn pesticides on them and kill them all. And then Kilo says, not even that, just one big ass pair of butter Timberlands would do the job.
Right.
And it's so, and that's so disheartening because there's two things that, and I'm talking about this in spoiler half, but there's two things that Hell's Paradise does extremely well. And I'm not going to spoil anything here, but Hell's Paradise does threat extremely well. If your shonen doesn't have a good threat, then it's not going to be a good show. That's what makes Bleach so great. That's what makes Hell's Paradise so great. That's what makes Fire Force so great. That's what makes, that's fucking Naruto so great if you want to go back to a classic. Like, it's just so many great threats in shonen. It makes the show more interesting to watch. In this particular case, the threat is what? The government, which could have been cool if it wasn't.
But even then, right? You want to know why these fairies and demon lord don't pose so much of a threat in our opinions? Mm-hmm. Why they don't seem so imposing? Because all of that exposition they're giving us does not go to them. We don't know where this thing truly comes from. We don't know what the actual backstory behind it is. It's just there.
Yep.
And you're sentenced to be a hero.
Every single episode, 3 or 4 times an episode.
I don't want this goddess to fight next to me. You're going to overexert yourself. I hate you and everything you stand for, but I really love you and everything you stand for.
Yep.
We're the same.
Yep.
Demon Lord, let's go kill it. How many Demon Lords they killed so far? 3?
3. Yep. What? And
what was the focal point behind that?
Exactly.
We know that there's humans who are joining the Demon Lords.
Yep.
But what is the
implication?
Why is it homogenous? Why are they coming together?
Yep.
You know what I mean? What is the emulsifier in this combination? What's bringing them together?
And they're going to tell you. I guarantee you they're going to tell you before they show you.
Right. But and the thing is that they kind of dug this hole so far that if the explanation isn't perfect, it just makes the show worse.
Yeah, indeed.
Like they got to deliver the perfect explanation damn near to drag this from the deep.
And they won't. And that's it's whatever. This show, Sentenced to Be a Hero, makes fucking Kaiju number 8 seem like the fucking Freerin of shonen. Like it's so frustrating because it's so bad that I think about. Right. I just think about Kaiju number 8. I'm like, damn, that show ain't that bad.
I appreciate Kaiju number 8, man.
Yeah, like I got a new appreciation for Kaiju number 8 because it has the threat. It has
high key. I can go back to Chainsaw Man, and I appreciate Chainsaw Man. And mind you, I already appreciate Chainsaw Man, but you know what?
Because Chainsaw Man is what it is. But
those are devils. Those are the ones that I'm worried about. You know what I mean?
That's a threat. Those are threatening, antagonists and villains, and they don't over-explain nothing. You see it when you see it. It's just so frustrating that I appreciate the ones I didn't appreciate enough back then.
That's crazy.
Thank you, Senses, to be here. I appreciate that.
I wasn't even expecting that statement right there. That's funny.
And I just thought about that just now because I thought to myself, I'm like, damn, you know what? Thinking back on it, some of these shonens ain't that bad. Now we talk about Black Clover, that's still pretty bad. But
yeah, mind you, we are a Black Clover hate support group.
I hate them. I hate it so much. It's so bad. And I keep seeing this stupid ass fucking some guy who don't know how to pronounce Naruto talking about how the pull up on Black Clover is the best in all of anime.
High key, I'm gonna tell you how good Black Clover was. Ain't nobody really talking about it because ain't no season out, and they won't talk about it until another season comes out. But when that season is gone, like the amount of people who want to talk about Black Clover is gonna go from like 100,000 to like 3. Like nobody's gonna talk about Black Clover when it's not airing. That's just gonna be a fact. And that it's
You know what that remind me of?
what?
One of our most hated shonens that we both hate.
I know. Hang on, I know what the show. Not. What was that show called? The damn ninja show, Ninja Kamui.
No. This is an old school shonen that we hate. Fairy Tail. It reminds me of Fairy Tail. Don't nobody fucking talk about Fairy Tail. Now, probably because it's more universally hated than what Black Clover is, but points remain the same. Nobody talks about that fucking shit.
And the people who talk about Fairy Tail, they normally really only talk about the same 3 characters in rotation.
3? You got 3?
Natsu, the is
Gray.
it Gray?
Yeah.
And then the girl who armor transformed.
Armor who transformed? Not the key chick.
She do armor transformations.
Yeah, redhead. Redhead. I don't know her name.
Urza. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Ezra,
oh my God.
Urza.
Yo, I know her. I know the names
That's crazy.
of Fairy Tail characters.
That's crazy.
Mind you, I watched 90 episodes.
And I watched 140.
Trash. I'm sorry.
It was bad. It was all bad. Dude. Just thinking about why did I do that? The same reason why I watched 120 something episodes of Black Clover. I tried.
Oh my God.
Because I think I went through a stage too where I was like, why do I hate these shows so much? I need to know why they're so beloved. And
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, didn't I watch it before the podcast too? Or during it? I don't know when it came out. Whatever it came out. I'm like
Fairy Tail?
No, Black Clover. Because I'm like,
oh no, you watched that during the podcast.
Okay. I'm like, it has to be reasons why this show is popular and I hate it. Because I used to like action shows back then too. Like I was okay with the shonens and whatnots. So I'm like, what the fuck is the reason? I kept going. And every time I kept going, I kept rolling my eyes and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what the fuck is even going? It's terrible.
Yeah, reason for disliking it is justified. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's justified completely because it's just bad. And mind you, as a person who was reading it, I don't think reading it was half as bad as watching it.
Yeah.
And it could be because my imagination is better than the animation. It could be better, and it could just be that the way that the story is paced in my head because of how I'm reading it is just better. I feel like the intention in my mind is better than the delivery through the mechanism of animation.
Wow.
Sadly.
Well put. That probably would have been a better read for me too then. It was, I was miserable.
I do think so. I do think so, but I do think that also a lot of the plot holes in Black Clover still stand.
Yeah.
They still stand, so that's not going to change.
True. I hate when people say, "What, you hated it because of the yellow?" Because that's the basic thing that people use. No, that wasn't a problem to me.
He was Naruto Jr.
Yeah, I mean Naruto screamed.
Worse. He was worse.
That part that should never bother me though. That part never bothered me. It was the inconsistencies in the story. It was how. It was poor development, poor power system, poor inconsistency when it came to the writing and the characters and the reasons and the whys and the hows. It was so black.
Zatch Bell worked harder.
Yeah, everybody worked harder. And everybody except for Asta worked harder than it. I don't know, man. It's not the Black Clover hate section, but it feels good.
To make it crystal clear, we hate Black Clover, but Sentenced to be a Hero made us enjoy other shonen significantly more. The point of the segment.
More of that story. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now let's get to the main topic of the show, which was what we really came here for. We're here to talk about, we always talk about turning points in the show. We talked about it last week. We talked about it a few times. We did a live episode where we discussed our favorite turning points, but we decided to find and discuss what makes a good turning point. And I think that is very key to the to not only just, the anime, but just storytelling in general, right? Because it can every story has a turning point. That's basically the climax of your story that then completely changes how the trajectory of the overall story. So in this particular case, first, let's name your favorite turning point. And just off the top of your head, just come up with one. It doesn't have to be your favorite number one. Like, you don't have to do in detailed research in your brain of what your favorite turning point is, but just name a great turning point to you.
God, I'm so upset that I can't think about the name of it right now. It's when it's the time travel anime. I can't think of it right now, brother.
Steins Gate,
yes. Steins Gate, when we it's like episode 8, I think it is, when we get more evidence on what's going on and what happens, essentially the switch when there's revelations with the characters, and we have a main character also pass away. Steins Gate has one of my favorite turning points in anime.
That's interesting.
Remake Our Life has one too, but I'm gonna stay with Steins Gate.
What was Remake Our Life one that you enjoyed? Slight spoiler.
It was when we found out about his changing of the status quo, or the actual past itself.
What was that?
Remember when we first found out that he was changing the lives of the people that he loved so much from the past, people he looked up to when he went to school?
Oh.
And they were like not doing the things they did before because they were interacting with him, and he was so skilled at everything. It was literally changing. That was like when he started making decisions differently going forward.
I see. Yeah, I still think the OG turning point and what brought turning points to our attention is still my favorite, and it's of course Jobless Reincarnations. And I was looking it up as you were talking, but it's Jobless Reincarnations, episode 8, season 1, title Turning Point 1. And the reason why is because we go from the first 8 episodes, 1 through 7, being some of the most wholesome, wholesome in light of what comes to be come the turning point. But it's the conversation, it's him growing up, living with his family, enjoying life, and gets introduced to his distant cousin who he's ended up betrothed to, et cetera, et cetera. All of a sudden, notice this big spoilers for Jobless Reincarnation season 1, episode 8. This big orb in the sky, and this big orb in the sky envelops both him and his cousin and Ghislaine. Yeah, Ghislaine, and it literally teleports not only him but everything in the vicinity of his hometown, his homeland, and completely teleports everybody and everything. And that is the point where it turns into this big, because it's not only dynamic, it's not only a dynamic shift in the story for our main characters, but it's a dynamic shift into the world. And I think that's what makes it so impactful, so memorable, is because it don't just change what happens to our main characters like most anime would. This literally change what happens to the world and how the world progresses from there. And I think that's such a good such a tense, I guess would be the term I'm trying to use, such a tense moment in the story that it's like it catches you off guard and it catches you by surprise, because throughout the entire first 7 episodes you would expect nothing like this to happen. It was such a big deal when that first happened, and I freaked the hell out. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Because it blew me back.
And how would you actually define a turning point, right? Because that's like an explanation. What would be like a solid definition, or even like a component to a turning point that you think is like important?
A drastic shift in a narrative
Okay. And I agree with that. I would say that shift also comes with like a perspective shift as well. Like you, the viewer, you are now forced to view what's happening either in a more progressive manner, or, and by progressive I mean is pushing the story more like forward differently, or you are now looking at the situation in a different perspective as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we talk about like love flops. We've talked about that before as well, and how that was like I said, not necessarily a great show. But if you want to talk about definition for turning point, I think like Polo said, Jobs Reincarnation is a great one, but also Love Flops is another one where that turning point perspective, I think, helps give that definition more validity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Real sad. So with that being said, since that's defined and we now got our basis, what makes a good turning point?
Yes. So, I would say like my first thing is that perspective shift, right? And let's go with like, My Teen Romantic Comedy. Okay. So season 1 for me of My Teen Romantic Comedy, like to me, I didn't feel the romance immediately. It was very much so a character introduction. Very much so just getting to know everyone and setting the groundwork, right? Planting the seeds. Then boom, you get interactions that don't necessarily force you into a romance, but it's no longer just I'm taking this job to help people around me, to this is the reason that this person is viewed in this light that causes this romance. You know what I mean? And I would say that what makes a good, turning point, like we talked about, is that perspective shift, that pivot, and how you view what's happening here, right? It finally switched to what its namesake was, in my opinion. You know what I mean? My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu. In the beginning, it was, like I said, setting that groundwork. Okay, now I see the teen romantic comedy. And I'll even take away the comedy part, because it really was still teen romantic. And, it was romantic at that point, and, teen perspective, obviously. But that's where the namesake of the show kicked in and felt like, okay, now I see where we're actually headed. And it kept... I'm not gonna say necessarily kept that specific tone, but it kept that tone. Yeah. It kept that integrity to what it was all the way through until the end. And all it did at that point was, like you said, this is your climax, but it did a crescendo. It would go up, and it would keep that anticipation going, give you a little hit, and then, okay, we're gonna bring it back down, stabilize a little bit. Next season, give you that crescendo again, come down a little bit. Okay, final season, and it just hits you. You know what I mean? Yeah,
my thought goes to when I think of Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu is when it's everything is understood but yet to be explained. That I think is the perfect explanation to what My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu is, because there was a turning point in the show where the three main characters understood the situation that the three of them were in, but they never explained it to each other, to anything. They just knew the situation that each of them was feeling, and it became the turning point of the story. And I think it's that, again, I talk about this moment all the fucking time, and I really wish I could put it inside the show, but YouTube will beat our ass. It's the moment where Hachiman is explaining to them something. And it is the most emotional, shout out to Adam Gibbs, the voice actor of Hachiman. It is the most emotional piece of voice acting I've ever heard. And it sounded like it came from not only just, I'm actually getting choked up thinking about it. Wow, that's crazy. I'm about to shit a thugged here. It was such an emotional piece that you could feel the power that was held behind the words that he was saying when it came to the situation that he was put in. I really wish I could fucking put that piece inside of this episode, but I know I can't, because again, Spotify would also blow us back. But it's so So, and I'm gonna drop it in Discord. I'm gonna drop it into the to the episode forum page as well. Like that, just that clip in the dub. When you watch that clip, it's so fucking emotional because of Adam Gibbs and the performance that he gives. And it's like, it's him explaining like the reason why he does things and why it has to move this way, but it's still him as a character hurts him as well as everybody around him that cares. And it was that part for me was when you brought up my team around the comedy staff, that is the first moment that came to mind when it came to the turning point. Was that moment where everybody understood and didn't explain anything.
I agree. I agree with that. But I want to add to this now, right? Because what you bring up is a very good point. Because while we both kind of have perspectives on turning points, right? Mm-hmm. Just like Jobs Reincarnation, there's always, or sometimes there's more than one turning point. Ooh, yeah. Now, with that being said, I pose this question to my brolo. As a longer form series may go on, there may be more than one turning point. Mm-hmm. What makes a good secondary or tertiary turning point? How do you keep that level of importance, brilliance, consistency in a turning point past the first one? What makes a good secondary turning point? What makes a good tertiary third turning point?
And the only thing I can think of is Jobless Reincarnation doing it so brilliantly with actually labeling them turning points. Mm-hmm. I think turning point 2 and 3 in Jobless Reincarnation are spectacular. Perfect examples of what you're talking about. But what makes it good is that the unknown.
Right.
Because again, sorry to use Jobless again, but the perfect way to explain it is like when you see that this episode is titled Turning Point at the beginning of the episode of Jobless, you don't think to yourself, you think to yourself, you don't think to yourself, you do think to yourself like, okay, but when is it coming? And a lot of times you have no fucking clue what or when it's coming. And that's, I think, what makes a good second and third is that you don't see it coming, right? Mm-hmm. It's very hard to do that, to do a turning point well multiple times. But I do think it's the element of surprise that makes it good. So not only what we talked about to make a good turning point initially, but to then bring that element of surprise to then make it to do it again. A perfect example, I think, is Love Flops, because Love Flops do have an initial turning point that isn't really necessarily what it becomes in like episode 7 or 8 or whenever that was. There's a moment where it's like, what was that? You know, and the show piques your interest for a second, and then God be like episode 4 or 5 or something like that. It's not anything obvious, but then when it does become obvious is when it does do that second like real flip of the switch, mm-hmm. that you're like your mind is fucking blown. And I think I hate to bring this up because it ruined itself, but what's the show that we watched last season? The Androids.
Oh, we talked about that. I literally was just talking about this with somebody. I told him just go ahead and finish it, but it ain't that good. It ain't as good as you think it's gonna be. Yep.
What was the name of it though? You remember?
Oh my goodness, I don't. But I'm about to go find it because I know exactly what you're talking about. That's crazy.
Was it spring?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 25.
Fall 2025.
Oh, fall. Spring was pretty bad, huh? Damn.
He said, hold up. Dust Beyond the End of the World.
Dust Beyond the End of the World. Yes. There was 2 turning points that end up both being very good until we got to the very end. It made them pretty bad.
Now, and I want to go ahead and throw my example into the ring, right? Mm-hmm. One of my all-time favorite shows, my favorite show.
I think I know what it is.
ReZero. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that there were some important turning points in season 1, right?
I got chills.
But let me tell you what I thought was one of my favorite turning points. And it's not just when he met with the witch, you know what I mean? Because when he met with the witch and was able to say what he needed to say, that was huge, right?
Right.
But you want to know what also felt like a very valid, very important turning point? When he got to talk to his parents.
Yes.
And I say that because it wasn't like this hard hitting turning point that just stamped right in the face and said, you know, boom, something is happening right now. Action's happening right now. It was the character having a moment to actually sit in everything and develop, right? The character got a moment to develop from things that we really had no real interaction with before.
Yeah.
Not for this character.
Yeah.
And we got some realization. We got some openness to that character. And to me, that felt like a huge turning point. It felt like, okay, Subaru is really locking in right now.
Yeah.
Then we get the scene with Echidna where he's able to sit down and say what he needed to say to her to get his emotions out, get his tears out.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's like a culmination. It's like a sequence of turning points that lead to just that end of that season being as phenomenal as it was.
And both of those are around the same time, which makes what you're saying more relevant, because to make a good turning point, I think it has to consistently evoke change, not only within the viewer's emotional state, but the main character's growth. Mm-hmm. I think that's what makes so the good first one is character development. The good second one is growth. Is moral of that story.
Yeah.
Well said, man.
Oh man.
Well said. And that's, I mean, we say all that to say, what makes a good turning point is surprise, growth. What else would you say? Intention.
Yeah,
I think intention.
The what?
I think intention is very important too.
Yeah.
Like, what's the intent? The intent behind this change in plot,
perspective.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah, because if the intention is to fuck it up at the end, just beyond the end of the world, then are those turning points really that great?
No. Because you fucked it up at the end.
You fucked it up at the end. Exactly.
Should have stopped turning. Should have just pointed.
What's funny is that I think about poor turning points that aged well, though, to kind of, before we completely wrap it up. And that's, I'm just looking at it now, my gift level, 9,999. Second episode was a turning point, unironically. Mm-hmm. It wasn't good in the initial viewing of that episode until it all comes around. It comes around via like episode 6 or something like that, where you kind of notice that what he's built. Actually, no, the next episode, right? Because that's when the wolf character gets down there and you start to understand everything relatively clear. But that so whole week that we had that episode fucking blew us back. Like, it fucked us up.
I'm the only person who liked that turning point, huh?
Did you?
I was the only person who thought that episode was okay. I was like, that's not a bad episode. But I'll tell you, I'm gonna tell you what was rough. Because I'm looking at that same season. Our last boss appeared.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, their turning point was rough.
That was rough. Yeah,
they hit the e-brake and was like, "Oh, we gave you all the information already."
Yeah, and none of it made sense.
What was the turning point? Why you turn? Stop turning. You already gave us. You already gave us all the information.
Yeah, it was rough. That one was rough. But you know what? I appreciate that more than now after watching Senses to Be a Hero. Let's get to Know My Check Wife Waifu and then go on to spoilers. Oshi No Ko specifically.
Bro, it's wild.
It doesn't matter whose turn it was because I don't remember. I got the questions pulled up if you want to roll.
All right, here I go. I'm gonna go to. How many questions do we have?
Just put 100. It don't matter.
Okay. 40.
Reroll.
96.
Reroll.
56.
Reroll.
36.
Reroll.
27.
We're going to keep doing it like this until we run out of questions, by the way. What is your favorite ongoing anime series? Easy. It's our number one anime series that we both has as number one. And we've had it as number one since the inception of this podcast. And that's ReZero, right?
ReZero.
It's still ongoing. Next season. It's next season. Ooh.
ReZero.
Next season.
I would also like to just throw this in there, right? Real quick.
Please.
Just if Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash was still going,
God.
I feel like that would be an
so
actual,
sad.
like, really close contender.
That makes me so sad, bro. That hurts.
That was actually a phenomenal season, bro.
Yeah. You want to talk about emotional? Ugh.
Turning points. They gave us one episode 1.
Episode 1, yeah.
It was like, hold up, turn around.
And then 3, I think it was. Ugh.
Yep.
Rough. Great show. And I think that's going to forever be in my top 10. Like, I would remove. It's tough. I would remove one. I got one show that I would remove in my top 10 right now. And it's not because it's bad, but just because I think something of more emotional importance would be better. But we'll discuss that another day. Anyway, let's get into some spoiler talk. Let's talk Oshi No Ko, which Crystal should be watching. Now, this conversation is interesting. It started with, let me find it here. I search it in our forums. Make sure you join our Discord too. It's where we have our anime conversations based on the episodes and seasons and stuff we're watching. But shout out to TCB with the popcorn. But the conversation goes like this. This episode of Oshi No Ko was all about Kana and how she got fucking used by her friend to be basically set up with this popular director guy who does great movies, and then she was then sold out to what seemed to be, and what was implicated at the end of the episode was seemed to be sold out by like a newspaper. This upcoming girl band or whatever, blah blah blah. It was a conversation in Discord, where Fear says Shorty set her up. This was one of those episodes that makes me want to pick up the manga again. And I said, that's what the fuck she gets, talking about Kana being set up at the end of the episode. He said, dude, you still hate her? I feel like she's been better. I feel sad about her. And I said, you know, not only is she annoying still, but she's also supposedly knowledgeable about this game and how it works, and yet she still gets worked. I don't have sympathy for people who know the wrong choices and still make them. And I find that to be very important as to why this episode for me, while be it a good episode writing wise, it felt I didn't have any sympathy. And if I don't have sympathy for the character, then that means was it really that great of an episode? Now, Oshi No Ko doesn't have a bad episode. I'm going to point that out right now. I want to make that loud and clear. Oshi No Ko doesn't have a bad episode. I don't care about what happened this episode. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Am I being reasonable there? Or what you think?
I'm gonna say, I mean, it's reasonable for Polo, because I don't have a problem with that character.
Yeah.
But that also, I guess, like, wasn't the hugest bump for me, right? Because I will say, like, what's going on with her is, like, as who she is, she should be more aware.
Very. She was talking about in her inner monologue how much how aware she was.
Right. And action should have been taken differently. And I get that, I think I'm skilled enough to be able to manage through this regardless. Why put yourself in that position where you even got to in the first place? So I 100% agree with you on that. Like, I don't feel necessarily sympathetic for her or anything like that, because it was like, even if she set it up to where it's like, okay, she gets out of it because she knows what's going on or whatever, right? So I don't feel empathetic towards that. It just is what it is. But it wasn't a factor in my brain to worry about that.
Exactly.
Considering it should be a factor, knowing that people get killed in this show. we saw it in episode 1. And I think though, like, they put also so much emphasis on like the information this episode that we did kind of, and I'm not gonna say it's not new information, but they put more emphasis on the dynamic of what this information is going to make, I guess, more so. So that's where I guess my focus was. Whereas her, I felt like she was like a side tangent where they're trying to build her up to like they're going to give us something later with her that may be more important. But right now, it didn't seem like her role in that necessarily was important yet. But they're going to try and reveal something with her.
And to me, I'm about to say it's obvious and probably still be completely wrong because that's just how Oshi No Ko it works. You can never predict Oshi No Ko. But I will say this. It's obvious, quote unquote. It's probably not obvious, but I'm going to say it. It's obvious that they're setting up the fact that she's probably getting set up by Ruby again in this situation. Ruby contacted the girl, asked the girl if she could do this to Kana while Ruby is over here trying to recruit what's the assistant director's sister to be a part of it. And they kind of hinted at her being kind of like close to what Kana is as far as character wise. So it seems like it's all a piece of the cog that we don't necessarily know yet. But I find it to just be, for this particular moment, that as a viewer, hard to, again, like you said, sympathize or having any type of empathy, because again, they spent almost the entire episode of her inner monologue knowing what she's doing being completely a terrible idea. She's taking this chance to, quote unquote, get out because Ruby almost put this bug in her ear, probably intentionally, to get somebody else in the group that'll probably possibly replace her. So she's trying to find her way back into acting and blah, blah, blah. That is fine and dandy. It's just, again, as a viewer, I didn't care about anything that happened.
And I'm going to say this because I could just be emotionally oblivious to what was going on here, right? Because like I said, I did not sympathize or empathize with her. Do you think that was the actual point of that moment, though, was to empathize and sympathize with her?
Absolutely.
Or do you think so? Because
100%.
I think I agree with you more on the fact that I think they were drawing our eye to that scenario for a reason. Like, they're introducing this character for a reason. They're introducing this setup for a reason. Like I said, but you think it was the emotional attachment that was here?
They wanted you to feel sorry for her because she's doing this, albeit to get her mind off of Aqua, right? Like, they had the whole emotional scene where she's talking to the right girl about Aqua. She's, you know what I'm saying? And she's trying to escape the fact that she's still in love with Aqua. She have this situation to where she's, man, I could possibly sleep with this director to get a better acting gig, but I can't because I love Aqua. It's all to cater to you feeling sympathy for her emotional state after what happened with Aqua. You even showed the flashback of what Aqua did to her and that. And I can't believe he still hates me. It was all to tug at that, i.e. fear. Normal. I guess I'm gonna say normal people had sympathy for her, i.e. fear. Like he said, you feel bad for her. You feel sad for her. I didn't.
Yeah. And mind you, I don't, like I said, I don't have the same inclination to feel the way about her that you do.
Yeah.
But I also did not feel necessarily sympathetic for her because I felt like I said, she knows better. She knows better.
Exactly.
She knew better.
You should do better.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it was rough though. It was a rough one for me to watch because I'm like, ugh, the whole time, ugh, you know.
Yeah, but Aqua.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm not gonna say I felt sympathetic for Aqua either, but the posing the question to say, can you make the decision for me? Knowing how hard it is for him at that moment, knowing what his goal has been this entire show, to getting to a part where he doesn't necessarily have that same goal anymore. And now he's conflicted. I remember when you were conflicted. Now he's conflicted. And he doesn't even want to make the decision himself anymore.
Which gives me all the more reason to say that Akane is best girl and will forever be the best girl because of how she handled the situation.
Yeah.
She could have been like, took advantage of his weakness and him in a moment of weakness. Boy. Yeah. She's like, nah, you gotta do it yourself. And if we end up being like this, then it ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? If you end up relying on me too much, it ain't gonna work. You ain't gonna be who you are. And that shit was like, what? Who in their right fucking mind would want Kana over Akane? Like who? I don't get it.
No, she cooking.
She cooking.
And without even knowing, she already in the background like, all right, let's figure this out. We don't even know that yet. He don't know that yet.
You don't know that yet. So,
but she in the background, let's figure this out. Let's go ahead and get it ready for my man.
Now, I would say this. That part bugs me a little.
Cause she knowing she ain't saying nothing.
Communication is key. That shit is the realest sentence in any. My mom, listen, every conversation that I have with my mom is always my go-to person when it comes to anything. While she doesn't take her own advice, she gives great advice. Okay.
That's 90% humanity.
Yeah. When it comes to relationships. And every time I'm feeling emotional about something in my past, exes or whatever the case may be, I call my mom. And my mom will tell me, the saying is cliche, but communication is key, is the realest thing, period. If you could talk to somebody about anything, then that somebody is the right somebody. And I think Akane doesn't realize that she can talk to Aqua about this. Now it will be some, anger to spout. Now I understand why she's not, right? Because we're talking about turning him into a murderer at that point. Because the moment he finds out, he's going to try to kill him. And that avoiding that is, you know what? Maybe she's right for not telling him. Maybe I'm just realizing that she's actually right.
I don't necessarily disagree. I do think that communication is still key, but I think that she does kind of have a point in not saying anything.
Yeah,
but
I just literally just thought of it.
Also, you got to remember, if he finds out for whatever reason that she has any inclination,
then she just says, I don't want to turn you into a murderer. You right now, and this is how she feels right now. Maybe she has an inclination that Aqua isn't right now, but to her, Aqua is in the best place he's possibly been in. Like, this is just because from our perspective, we know that he's not. From her perspective, I don't think she necessarily knows that he's not doing well right now. You know what I'm saying? Because via their phone conversation that they had when she's all giggly.
She said in this episode that it's inevitable, like Thanos.
No, well, you talking about
she said
finding
that,
out, right?
If not that him find out, but she said when he does find out, his goal, what he's going to do, is inevitable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That part we know. What I'm referring to, she
doesn't feel like she can change his mind on that.
Yeah. What I'm referring to is the fact that she feels like right now he's in the best place he's been in. Yeah. Since he let go, and that's why she's keeping it from him. Because why would you want to take him back to that place where he was at his darkest, right? Where he was wholly focused on murdering whoever murdered his mother. So, I think again, I convinced myself as we were just talking that she is making the right decision by not telling him.
Yeah. It sucks.
It does suck.
Because I do think I think in both cases, she's a real one, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because if she did tell him, she's still the realist.
Yep.
If she don't tell him, she's still the realist. And mind you, here's what I think her character perspective is. She finds, because she has an idea as to who it is. Oh. I think her character role is verifying what happened, who did it. And when she can, in the safest possible way, present the information to him.
Do you think?
I think that's what she would do.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But here, come with me when I take you somewhere real quick.
I don't know, bro.
Do you think this turns out to be a situation where she gets hurt? And I'm talking hurt. Like, Not with Aqua.
Oh,
with
yeah.
The dangerous man that she's about to deal with right now.
Yes, 100%.
Like,
and I say that.
Oh,
I say that for two reasons.
It hurts even.
One, she's best girl.
Yep.
And they got to break our hearts.
Yep.
Two, she a real one. But both of those are the same thing. But I think that the reason that is though is because she is a crutch for Aqua. And I think that she's the kind of she has to be removed, so to speak, for Aqua to flourish. And I think that it comes to a focal point where both Ruby and Aqua are like hand in hand.
As far as matching the goal in which they want to get that revenge.
Yes.
I don't want anything to happen to Akane.
And I feel like what it is, and here's what we're going to see. She's going to see the guy, and she's going to think, what would I have done in this situation? We're going to see an eye sparkle in her eyes. And that's going to be the moment that something crazy happens. Because you're like, oh, you remind me of her. And probably going to be uncontrollable.
She going to get hurt.
Hey, I'm already hurt thinking about it.
Yeah. That's killer. I think with that, that's a wrap for episode 339. I'm at Polo Borfla on all social media.
I'm at King Teliano on all social media.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Support us on Patreon. And as always, Mike check.
You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?